Hello everyone, welcome to Ebenezer Tutorials. In this video, we will be looking at the circular queue and it's a brief description of the circular queue and also about how to implement it in any programming language. So we will start. Before we study about the circular queue, we will have a, just an introduction to why do we need a circular queue. Now in the previous video, we saw what is a queue. So in general, a queue is a linear data type. So all the elements that we store it in a linear way. But what did we see as the disadvantage of a queue is that whenever you delete an element, we only increment the front pointer, but the elements that are there in the queue are still present. So although we have empty spaces in the queue, we can't insert any element there. So that is a drawback, which is the wastage of space in a linear queue. So to overcome this drawback, we have the concept of a circular queue in which we don't simply increment the front pointer in a general way. Instead, there is a different way of incrementing. It is very much similar to a linear queue, but there is a slight difference in how we increment the pointers. So that is what we will be seeing in this class. So just as the linear queue, even in the circular queue, we would be studying of 5 different operations. We would be studying of how to enqueue an element, how to dequeue an element, how to display all the elements, how to check if the queue is full, and how to check if the queue is empty. These are the basic 5 operations that we perform on any data structure, and that is what we'll be studying in the circular queue also. So we will start. We will just have a simple explanation and then we will proceed with the implementation. So circular queue, as the name suggests, we have to understand it in a circular fashion. So this is the way we will be understanding it. So I have a circular queue, so I can assign cells to it. Supposing these are the 6 cells, that means the queue is of size 6. So I will assign the index from 0 up to 5. So since the last index is 5, what is the size of the queue? The size of the queue is 6. So this is how we represent a circular queue to understand it. So there are 2 pointers, as we saw in the linear queue also. There are 2 pointers that we consider in case of a queue. One is the front pointer and one is the rear pointer. So here also I would be having a front pointer and I would be having the rear pointer. Now initially, before we start inserting any element, the queue is empty. So the condition for the linear queue remains the same for the circular queue also. So what is the condition that we had? Front is set to -1, rear is also set to -1. So this is the condition to indicate that the queue is empty. Now the next thing is we have to enqueue an element. So how do we enqueue? This also remains the same. When we are inserting the first element, what we would do, we would point both front and rear to 0. So what have we done? Supposing I have inserted 27. So our front pointer and the rear pointer, it is pointing to 27. So we have inserted the first element. Now I want to insert more elements. I will, in a linear queue, what do? We simply increment rear as rear equal to rear plus 1. That means we increment its value by 1. But in case of a circular queue, the operation would be written as rear is equal to rear plus 1 modulus of the size. So we will understand this one a little later, but this is how we increment the value of rear. So what is the current value of rear? It is 0. 0 plus 1, what is our size? It is 6. So the next position of rear, the incremented value would be 6, would be 1. So now rear would be pointing to index 1 and whatever element I want to insert. I want to insert 64. Similarly, now I want to insert the third element in my queue. So again the same formula will be using the current value of rear, which is 1 plus 1 modulus 6. So what is it? 2 modulus 6 is 2. So the next time rear would be pointing to index 2 and we can insert the element. So in case I want to insert 17. So this way I will insert the fourth element. I will insert the fifth element. Now I will also insert the sixth element. So what can we see? Visually we can see that the queue is full. Now I want to insert the next element. So what is the condition that is different here compared to the linear queue? You can simply check if rare is size minus 1. Although it is true in this case, we will, as we proceed with the class, we will see that this condition always doesn't remain true when the queue is actually full. So the condition that we write here instead would be rare. We will check if rare is equal to or rare plus 1 modulus of the size if it is equal to the front value. So what is it? Whatever is the current value of rare, we add 1 to it, modulo, find its modulo with the size, and we check if that value is equal to front. So in this case, how is it working out? 5, which is the current value of rare, plus 1, which will give us 6, modulo is the size, which is 6. So 6 mod 6 is 0. So is that equal to front? Yes, it is equal. So the queue has become full. So this is one variation in case of the NQ operation, which we look at in the circular queue. So what did we see in NQ operation? We saw if the queue is empty, front and rear would be pointing to minus 1. Also we saw while inserting, if it is the first element that we would be inserting, we set both front and rear to 0 and we insert the element. And if it is not the first element, we simply increment the value of rare with this formula, which is rare plus 1 mod size, and then insert the element into our queue. And if at all the queue is full, we can't proceed with the insertion, which is actually the first condition that we check in the NQ operation. We can't proceed with the insertion. So what is that condition to check if the queue is full? It is rare plus 1 mod size if that is equal to front. So this is the NQ operation. So now I want to dequeue the element. So how will I dequeue? This also is almost similar to the linear queue, but the only variation is in how we increment the value. In case of a linear queue, how do we delete an element or dequeue an element? We simply increment the front pointer. That is exactly what we do in the circular queue also. But while incrementing its value, we don't simply do f++. We increment it just as we saw for rare. We do it as f is equal to f plus 1 mod size. So this is how we increment the front pointer. So now the current value of front, we can see it is 0. If I add 1 to it, it is 1. 1 mod 6 is still 1. So the next value of front would be here. So it would be pointing to index 1. Now again, if I delete an element, now front would be pointing over here. Now I want to add an element. So to insert an element or to NQ an element, what is the first primary condition that we check? We check if the queue is full. Now here we can see that our front is pointing to index 2 and our rear is pointing to index 5. So we can see that these two cells, that means the 0th index and the first index, it is empty. Although we can see the element here, it has virtually got deleted. So in case of a linear queue, even if this is the condition, we can't proceed with the insertion because the rare pointer only keeps incrementing in its rightward direction. It doesn't come back to its initial position. But in this case, how do we check if the queue is full? We check it with rare plus 1 mod size if it is equal to front. Now here we can see what is rare. It is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 mod 6 is 0. And front is what? Front is 2. 0 is not equal to 2. So what will we do? We can proceed with the insertion. The queue is no longer full. So what will we do? We can insert the element by incrementing the value rare pointer. So rare is equal to rare plus 1 mod size. So in this way the rare pointer will get will point to the 0th index and you can add an element there. So what is the only difference that we see here? While incrementing the front pointer, we don't increment it as f++. Instead we increment it as front is equal to front plus 1 mod size. So the same conditions that we check for a linear queue apply for a circular queue as well. So for deleting, we check while deleting if the queue is empty. If the queue is empty, you can't dequeue an element, so you'll have to print an appropriate message or handle it appropriately. If the queue is not empty, we will check if it is the last element to be dequeued. So how do you check that? The condition here remains the same as the linear queue, which is front and rear are pointing to the same element. If front is equal to rear, there is only one element left in the queue, which we will be deleting. So while deleting, we will set front and rear. After deleting, in fact, we would be setting front and rear to -1 to bring it to its initial state, to bring it to its empty state. And if at all it is not the only element present in the queue, we would be deleting an element or dequeuing an element with this formula. Front is equal to front plus 1 mod size. So this is how we perform the enqueue operation, how we perform the dequeue operation. Now for checking if the queue is full, we already saw what is the condition that we write. This is the condition that we write. If rear plus 1 mod size, if it is equal to front. This indicates that the queue is full. And how will you check if the queue is empty? We will check it by checking if front and rear are pointing to -1. So we have seen 4 operations: enqueue, dequeue, is full, is empty. Now the fifth operation and the last one that we'll be seeing in circular queue is we would be displaying the elements. So while displaying, there is a slightly different logic that we apply here compared to the linear queue. In case of a linear queue, what do? We run a loop starting from front up to rear, and we print all the elements in that gap. But in case of a circular queue, you can't do it that way, because we saw that even if rear is pointing to to a lower index, front can point to a higher index, which is not possible in case of a linear queue. So the logic that we apply here is slightly different. We would be seeing it using the do while loop. So I will write the code. We take a before the loop, we will take a temporary variable temp and assign the front pointer to the temporary variable. Now I take the do while loop, and what will I do? We will print the element. So if we are using C++, it would be cout queue of temp. So I have displayed the first element. Now I have to increment temp to move on to the next element. So how would we do that? I will increment temp as temp equal to temp plus 1 modulus size. And till when will we keep doing this? We will keep doing it till temp is not equal to rear. So this is the condition that we would be having. We increment the temporary variable by 1, just as we incremented all the variables using modulo size. Until when will we keep incrementing? Till temp's value doesn't reach the value of rear. That means till temp and rear don't become equal. So this is how we display elements in a circular queue. So hope you all have understood the circular queue, its concept, and how to implement it. We would also be seeing the implementation of the entire code for circular queue in C++ in the upcoming videos. I hope you all have understood it. Do like the video and also share it with your friends and relatives. And don't forget to subscribe to Ebenezer Tutorials and press the bell icon for immediate notifications. Thank you for watching.